About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.
And what's going on, everybody? We are here tonight, All About the Birds, to break down the Eagles Patriots Week 2 preseason matchup. A lot of good here than it was last week, so it's going to be pretty fun to dissect this one and go about talking about some of the players who shined in this game. Eagles lose late, of course, 24-21, but again, that's not the story. The story is what we saw from the guys who were out there on the field. But Matt, I know we talked a little bit before we came on here. It was a lot more fun to watch this again than it was trying to painfully get through Baltimore.
Yeah, I feel like with the Ravens game, you were trying to look for positives. This one, they were a lot more apparent. And a lot of the guys that we talked about wanting to see more from happened to be big players in this one, which was pretty cool, pretty fun to watch. Much easier to stomach than that Ravens game.
Yeah, that Ravens game was pretty bad. But I think one thing, my first takeaway, of course, is the picture I have on the screen there. Carson Steele, absolute, he's that almost like a little spark plug. Watching him out there, and to me, it's just you and I, we've been talking about this last couple of weeks. It's just the little things we're watching, like the backup offensive lineman who could potentially make the roster at the end of there's how many of those players, the end of the receiver room, what's going on with the kick returner role, the punt returner role, all that stuff, the gunner, all that stuff's coming into play because we're taking a look at these guys in the bottom of the roster, seeing what they can do. And then there's certain players you're like, damn, I don't want to expose that guy to waivers because he's going to get picked up, whether it's Uar Bernard or, the bigger one here is Wuru. There's so many different questions that you're going to have here in the next couple weeks as the roster cut down comes because of what you've seen in the last week or so of practice in the games. Yeah.
This game, this game made it a little bit more, my 53, a little bit more difficult, mainly because of Steele, right? Steele played out of his mind, I think, and we'll get into it, but I think Ringo played pretty well, or Ringo played pretty well. Mac played pretty well. Gabe Hall put some nice tape out there.
Yeah.
The Zion Wilson
David Blay
is pretty fun to watch. Latu had some nice pop out there. The inside offensive line we already talked about. And who else was I thinking about? Gush made some nice plays. Pulley made some nice plays. Sean Wade, again, you could argue that he's earned a spot. They definitely made it tougher out of yesterday, and the Eagles are going to have some tough decisions to make at the bottom of the roster. But that's what you want. You want to have to make tough decisions because your roster is so loaded.
And definitely can see you can see some trades. I know Jimmy Kempski put out an article with some trade options and what you can see coming down the road here, because you do see that. You do see teams get traded or some players get traded who are at the bottom end. Hey, I'm not going to be able to keep them, but let me get something out of that. Let me get something for them. But there's a handful of guys you're watching here, hoping they can get on the practice squad because, some development, especially interior defensive line, because if in fact, you lose Moro Ojomo next year, you have Ty Robinson and, Gabe Hall and David Blay, Zion Wilson, some of these guys try to mold a couple of these guys turn into something. So there's a lot of that that is, fun to watch, but some of these guys, to me, I would love to get a guy on the practice squad like Eric Ezukanma because he had 2 really good kick returns, and they really don't have anything. He had a really Shipley
nice
could do it
against Baltimore too.
Yeah, he was 2 for 53 yards, 26.5 average, 32 was the long.
Yeah. And
you know,
he had a touchdown reception. He had a couple of really nice over the middle receptions. So I like him, especially as a practice squad guy. I mean, you and I have talked about it. We liked him coming out.
yeah.
And so to see him get his opportunities and do the most with what he's got, I think is certainly encouraging. I'd love to get him on. There's a bunch of these guys where I'm like, man, I hope we get him on the practice squad. Like Steele's one of them.
Because you got 16 spots on the practice squad.
Yeah. Well, 17 if you have the IPP.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of how that works, because
they have to clear waivers. You have to cut them. They have to clear waivers, and then you add them as an IPP, and then they don't count towards your.
The thing is, I don't see that if you cut Uar Bernard or Joshua Waru, you're not getting them on. They're being claimed by somebody.
They're either going to be IR'd or they're going to go 50. They're going to go 53, and then IR'd.
Yeah.
Because like the only way I can see this is they go to 53, a guy like Johnny Munt or maybe even like Fred Johnson, who's like a vested veteran, they get waived and they come back after we place them on the 53 or after we place them on IR. Kind of a handshake agreement with their agents. That's the only way I could see that really working.
Or Grant Calcaterra.
Yeah, I mean that's another one. I mean Grant getting a handshake agreement to come back to the 50 or to the practice squad, I think makes a ton of sense. But they're gonna have some really tough decisions, man.
Yeah,
and they're gonna have to play some real tango here with the roster.
Like, you and I have gone back and forth, and again, we're gonna go next week on Wednesday. We're gonna kind of really do our 53-man rosters. We're gonna go over that. That's I think it's a great time to essentially. We saw 2 preseason games. We've seen the practices. We see everything. That's gonna be our 53-man rosters. We'll make our predictions. From there, but I don't want to get too much into it because, of course, my opinion can change in the next couple of days. But I still have a feeling that they're going to put Rocco Underwood on the practice squad and call him up for 3 games to get that extra roster spot just to play that, like you said, the roster tango. You have guys like Jake Majors has played a really good role. Of course, we know Willie Lampkin's not going anywhere. The fire hydrant's not going anywhere. But you look at the end of the offensive lineman room, like Ojoku, I know he's a little banged up. Hopefully nothing too serious. You always could. He's played well, but you have Jake Majors. Unfortunately, Cameron Williams hasn't looked that great. Miles Hinton, these guys at the end of the roster there. It's just, maybe you could sneak 1 or 2 of them onto the practice squad to have them there. But you get 16 practice squad spots. I wouldn't be surprised though too, because you the 53 when it gets announced. Don't say, oh, okay, there's a 53. There's going to be more maneuvering because if they claim a player or 2, someone's got to go. So, you have that coming into play and who they get on the practice squad. They may not get all their own players on the practice squad. They may get 2 or 3 players from other teams onto the practice squad. So, you have 60. It's that they say 69-man roster. Yay, the 53, but then you have 16 practice squad players. So there's a lot of guys that you're seeing in these games who aren't going to be on the 53, but they're going to be a good handful of them end up on the practice squad. But man, it's going to be tough where they go heavy at what positions, where they go lighter at some positions. Like we mentioned, the kick return and the punt return. Britton Covey had a muff early, but he's usually sure-handed, and he averaged 9.5 yards per return in his punt return. So, I know it's not great, but you really don't have much of anything. There.
I mean, he's your guy probably. Listen. Yesterday was a fun game to watch, like you said. I think Shipley is very clearly the RB3.
Yeah.
Right. And initially, if you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said Pierce was.
Yeah, I would have too.
3/4. I think Steele has made a case to make the roster, but I don't know if they want to go heavy at if they want to go heavy at running back, right? That's probably not the position they want
But
to go in.
but you look
yeah.
at it though with Steele, he can play specials, he could do kick return. Like there's a couple of different things
I'd
that
like to
he
see him
gives you.
next week. Next week, I would like to see him get kick return duty. I want
Yeah,
to see
I would too.
on this squad.
Please take Quez Watkins out of there. Like we don't need to see him go 10 yards. Like we need to stop with that.
Yeah.
Just
Dude, the Quez experiment needs to stop.
it was over in 2023. I'm not sure why it's back, but
I know. But like, so like you could make the argument that Steele could play the fullback, H-back type of role, but like
yeah.
Latu is so good on special teams. So
See, that's another one too. It's just
dude, Steele gives me like the Juszczyk kind of vibes.
mm-hmm.
We talked about this, I think, on one of our first preseason pods, how I said that he was going to be a fan favorite. Like once he gets in the game, he was going to be a fan favorite. And we've talked about how he could play that Juszczyk role because he's oddly good out of the backfield.
Yeah.
In the receiving.
He showed you last night 6 catches for 84 yards.
Yeah. He was our leading receiver.
Yeah. And he's not small. Like he's 6 foot 230.
He's 6'1", 230. Yeah.
Big guy.
And he doesn't run like that. He runs like he's a 210-pound back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he runs really well. He's got good athleticism. He's got toughness. He was a lot of fun to watch. More fun than I thought he would be. Like I knew we talked about it. I thought he'd be a fun player, but that was just that performance last night was electric, dude. I'd love to see him get a shot.
So I would too. So the other two things that I had was watching the game. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. will see the field, kind of like he's just that blitz, that perfectly timed. Like it was the only thing that was missing from it was the axe chop, but that's basically about it. But that was absolutely perfection on timing that up. And
you think that's from the practices? You think he just got that cadence down from going against this guy?
The thing you hear about him is, Vic's talked about it, like he looks a lot faster because of his instincts. Like he's so instinctual. Like that's just his number one thing. Yeah, his speed may not be there. He may not have top flight speed, but if and your instincts are top notch, you're going to look a lot faster. Absolutely. And like, you and I have had this conversation with the middle linebacker, and, linebackers in general, they're pretty deep this year, which is, it goes way back in the late, it really goes all the way since the end of Andy's time. But the end of Andy's time, when you had to watch some of these guys that they were rolling out there, it was just, and even in the last couple of, last 5-10 years, we've been seeing some pretty horrid linebacker depth that they had to go with. But the other thing, though, to me is the secondary. I just honestly, like you were saying, I like Sean Wade, what you've kind of seen. But really, when you look at, like, I'm not really sure you can cut Keely Ringo because like you don't have anything else. And he's been in the system for a couple of years. He's still only 24. He has his limitations. We all know that. But unless someone's going to offer you a 5th or 6th round pick for him, I just don't see him going
as a gunner. And
I don't see him going anywhere. Like, don't be surprised if maybe they claim a corner that gets cut from somebody to have and learn a little bit. Like you could definitely see that. But to me, Mac McWilliams and Keely Ringo, I just don't. And then, of course, the other 3 guys, I think it's going to be those 5.
I think I on those 2, I think Ringo really showed a lot in the last 2 games. He had the pick in the last game. He had an almost pick 6 in this game. Ran stride for stride down the field against their 3rd round pick Williams. I thought he played pretty well. He wasn't as grabby as he usually is, and maybe that's because he was going up against these guys. Again, he does have his limitations, but He's a great special teamer. I wonder if they could cross train him a little bit at safety. He's got the physical limitations, and that to me screams safety. He just can't tackle with shit. So it's like I just don't know where to. You can only tackle when he's a gunner, which is weird.
The other thing I do say is I think they only keep 3 safeties. I think it's going to be Makuba, Epps, and Michael Carter, and then they'll keep maybe 1 or 2 safeties on the practice squad to call up. That's just my feeling on it. And it also has to do with the way that the roster breakdown is going to be, and that's a position I think they go light on to keep someone else at another position that they like. So. Again, you have all that. My other thing that I was kind of confused was, why not throw Jake Elliott out there for some field goals? Why do you keep going for it? Wouldn't you want to see? I kind of want to see him in those kind of situations. I understand you kick the extra point, and that's all in good fun, whatever. But see some field goal opportunities. But they've kind of told you, no matter how much he's struggling, they're not bringing anybody in. It's Jake Elliott.
I get wanting to see him kick field goals, and part of me had that too. But we know who Jake is for the most part. You have concerns when he's on, he's on. So
unfortunately, I have a lot of concerns, probably more than most, but I'm a little uneasy in this year just because of what I've seen the last, year. He's got to prove it a little bit, show me a little bit, and then I'll be okay. But
my bigger concern there is the snapper. I thought Underwood looked good on the couple punts that he did and on extra points. I didn't see anything that was really crazy. A lot of it, his snaps on the punt was right in the chest, stomach area. I thought that was pretty good. He gets it back there fast.
I was gonna say that thing comes flying in.
He guns it. Some guys will snap it directly from the ground, right? They go from the ground in one solid motion. He picks it up and bullets it. He really gets it back there fast, but I'd like to see. I'm interested to see what they do there. I thought McWilliams played really well on the outside. He had some missed tackles, but I thought he played pretty well in coverage. I know that's one of the things that we talked about watching in this game. He played primarily nickel last week. They've moved him to the outside and brought Gush in as nickel, and I like that combination. I thought Mac fares a little bit better without a two-way go. He's fast, he's twitchy, but he doesn't have that explosive quickness that a guy like Gush has. And he has a little bit more experience there. So I thought he played pretty well. We need to talk about Ty, dude.
Ty
Robinson came out of nowhere. And we talked about how
he's an animal.
A key part of this defense and a key part of our questions coming into the preseason was, can he take the next step? Because the depth in the interior defensive line, minus Byron Young, is lacking. And I thought Gabe Hall played pretty well last night, but Ty Robinson was a man possessed, dude.
Oh yeah,
he was disruptive. He had I don't even know how many. I can look it up, but he had 3 or 4 pressures. He had at least a QB hit. He had 2
sacks.
A couple really nice run stuffs. He was splitting double teams. He was running stuff. He was really impressive. Now, granted, it was against third and fourth stringers, but you can only play against who you're playing against. And I thought he really, really did a great job. I had a lot of fun watching.
Oh yeah.
Watching Ty Robinson and all the defensive tackles. Gabe Hall played pretty well. He had some really nice plays, some really nice pressure. I thought Zion Young had a couple really nice reps at nose tackle.
Zion Wilson.
Or Zion Wilson, yeah, sorry. Who they had listed as Miles Hinton in the game.
I was actually going to take a picture of that and be I didn't know that he plays man. He's trying to make it on the other side. That's pretty bad by their whoever puts those together. That's just
a little confusing though, because not many. I doubt many teams in the NFL have double numbers. We just have such an astronomical amount of retired.
Yeah, but if you're looking at the depth, like you should kind of, if you're putting together programming, shouldn't you kind of know that? But I guess whatever.
Yeah, you would think. But yeah, Ty was a beast. I thought the linebackers looked a little lacking outside of Trotter. I thought Mondin took some
Yeah,
pretty
Mondin, he couldn't finish. A couple of the blitzes he had, he just couldn't finish, and DeVito got out.
Yeah, he just took some bad angles, just wasn't finishing. I thought Lawson looked like crap.
Yeah,
It was unfortunate. Like he got
Campbell had a nice play here and there. Like, he wasn't for his first game,
solid.
but
solid. Lawson looked like he was 220 pounds.
yeah,
He got dragged a couple times. That was unfortunate. Can we talk about Mannion for a second?
yeah, up in the booth.
Up in the booth, man. I think that's the move. I think Mannion in the booth is the move.
Mm-hmm.
He looked, and maybe it was because they were practicing against that team all week, but he looked more comfortable calling the plays. I liked some of the motion that they ran. Like they moved Cooper from the outside inside and ran him through the C gap on an out a corner route, which with very McVay. I mean, we literally had this conversation when we hired him, saying, "I hope they run a wide receiver through the C gap on like an out or a corner."
The other thing is, I don't know, but is Grizzard on the sideline or is he up in the booth too? That's the one thing too, because if you have Mannion up there, you have Grizzard down below, can go over stuff. Like, it's a good combo there because we know Vic's in the booth, and then you have Clint Hurt and Jeremiah Washburn and all them down on the field, but
no, that'd be interesting. I really liked the motions he was running. That wide zone looks awesome. Bell looked really good there. Those two interior, like Kendall and Lampkin, were just they were bullying people, dude. And I will say I've seen this a couple times, but my concern with Cooper was that he wouldn't be able to develop the way that Stout did. But as of right now, maybe it's a coincidence, but I have to assume that he's doing something right. Because he's turned Bell. I mean, Bell's third round pick, so he's no slouch. But like Kendall, Lampkin, who was undrafted, Jake Majors, who was undrafted. He's turning these guys into legitimate, options on the team and making.
Micah Morris also looks pretty athletic too.
Micah Morris looked a lot better this week than he did last week, which was certainly good thing to see. Hinton and Williams, I think, are dead in the water, man.
I think what you're going to see is, with some of the offensive line injuries you're seeing and stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if like a Jake Majors gets traded for a late round pick, and then you keep those 10 guys. That's just my feeling on it.
You could keep a guy like Zeke, who knows the system and knows the coach. He could be in there and be your developmental center. That Shipley was running like a man. I love the way he runs, dude.
Yeah, he looked really good.
Him and Steele looked incredible. Darius Cooper on that little like play action bootleg they had, and then breaking that tackle and showing some juice was a lot of fun. The purposeful cheat motion we already talked about. Overall, I was just super happy. Even though we lost, I was super happy. I thought Latu and Stowers made some nice blocks.
Well, Stowers was open. Andy Dalton just missed him because he couldn't hit water if he was standing on a beach.
I thought Stowers. I actually have that written down that Stowers had a couple of really nice routes, and they just didn't look his way, or they overthrew him. But his blocking was much better. I mean, his blocking wasn't terrible last week. It wasn't great, but him and Latu collapsed the left side of the line on that touchdown.
Yeah,
along with a ridiculous double team block, but they played
the way I want to wrap it up here, I want to go over a couple of things. An article that I mentioned earlier, kind of like trade candidates, and get your thoughts on essentially what what they were saying. So the first one to me, yeah, maybe a trade candidate because I think a lot of teams are going to be interested in him. You maybe want to try to get ahead of that. So you can get it would be a guy like Davis Allen from the Rams. They're not going to keep 5 tight ends. They may keep 4, but Davis Allen will be one. I think he's like 6'6", 252. He's a big guy. He's in the last year of his rookie deal. So he would be somebody that I'd be interested.
They love their Clemson tight ends there.
I do. I've always liked him. I always thought he had potential, and I think he's been in the offense, so it's not like he doesn't know the system. The system, he does know it. So, see that I'm not 100% sure on his blocking. But then again, my feeling is this: like, if Goddard happens to get injured, Johnny Munt's more of a blocking tight end. Eli Stowers he's a work in progress.
Yeah.
If you had Davis Allen on the roster, you have him and Munt that could, help you for a couple games till you know what I mean? Like that's my thoughts on it.
I get that. And I would agree with you for the most part. I think Latu is being underutilized there.
Could be, yeah.
I think he could be your pass. I mean, he was a vertical threat at Alabama. Like he wasn't just sitting there blocking. Like I don't even think I ever saw him block at Alabama. And I think he could do it. But yeah, I mean, I would not be upset if you brought in a guy like a Davis Allen or a Mayer, right, from Las Vegas, like someone like that. Sure, absolutely. I think you could improve that room for sure.
So the other one was Mac Hollins, trading for Mac Hollins.
Why?
I guess the thing was the size aspect, 6'4", 221. He can block. He can play special teams.
I don't understand the obsession with size. Like everybody's like, oh, well, we had Johnny Wilson. Like he never played. He was injured.
Yeah.
And but we had AJ Brown. AJ Brown was 6'1".
Yeah, yeah, AJ Brown wasn't 6'4". He was 6'1".
No, he's 6'1", 220. Darius Cooper is 6'1",
210, right?
210, 215. Like I don't know. Dontavian Wicks is bigger than AJ Brown, from a height perspective.
Yeah.
Smitty is still 6 foot. I don't understand the obsession with size, because this offense is not predicated on being a contested catch merchant. This is predicated on route running and elusiveness and being able to find zones and sit in them. And that's exactly the type of receiver that we brought in. Now, if you went and said, hey, I want to bring in a guy who runs, who averages 25 yards a catch, now we're talking. But like, I'm not gonna trade for someone just because they're tall.
So the first trade was what stated was Fred Johnson for Davis Allen, which what I would think is Ojukwu is that's other swing guy with Markel Bell, and then Jake Majors would be the 10th offensive lineman.
Yeah. Okay with that. But my problem with the Davis Allen trade is, who are you getting rid of?
Again, yeah, that's where it becomes
Goddard, Munt, and Stowers. So
nope.
if you do that, you're getting rid of Latu, and then Latu, you're losing a stud special teamer.
Yeah, then that's where the Mac Hollins trade comes in. No. The Mac Hollins was Andy Dalton for Mac Hollins.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
And then the last one now was Keely Ringo to the Buccaneers for a 7th round pick. And we kind of already mentioned that I don't really think I don't think that's my feeling on it. I don't think you can do it unless, I don't know. I just think he's been in this defense for a number of years to have somebody like that. And if you're only going with, Q, Coop, Reek, Ringo, and Mac McWilliams as your 5 corners, I think there's no way you trade him and you trade him and then Sean Wade makes I just think you
7th round pick isn't worth it for Ringo.
no.
He provides too much. Now, if someone's like, "Well, I'll give you a 3 or 4," let's talk. But
yeah,
a 7th round pick isn't worth trying to replace his special teams. Now, if you're going to cut him, sure, like get
that's
a 7th
different.
round pick.
Yes,
but if he's going to make the roster, I'm not doing that. Real quick on Matt Collins, let me look something up real quick.
Are you coming around to this idea now? You're looking at something.
Well, I had a thought, and it's squashed. So
That's quick.
I was slightly intrigued with him playing gunner next to Ringo.
Okay.
That intrigued me for a sec. And I was also thinking about potential kick return, but I don't think that's his deal. But yeah, dude, if Dalton's getting cut and you can get Matt Collins and he's going to be your gunner opposite of Ringo, do it. Like, screw it. Sure.
My other thing that I'm thinking about, and we'll go more in depth in a couple days on Wednesday, would be Hollywood Brown. If there's a team that loses receiver here and there, maybe deal him for a late round pick or a pick swap type of thing, since he is guaranteed $5 million.
Okay.
To keep Elijah Moore on the roster. Just something else I've thought about.
I think Moore's staying on the roster regardless. Like, based on what the Packers did specifically, like they had 6 receivers.
To me, that's
so I could.
I guess what I'm saying is that's their way of getting 5 receivers and keeping 4 tight ends, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. Yeah, dude, it's gonna be fun. And that's the problem is like there are so many times where I'm like, yeah, dude, trades are fun, but then I have to be a party pooper and say, how does this affect the third phase? Like that's unfortunately how all of these are going to affect it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at a potential trade candidates article from 3 days ago. Let's throw some names out here real quick.
Okay.
Kayshon Boutte. I'm going to say no.
No. Like for the Eagles?
Yeah, just in general. But this is just in general. But I'm saying, if you're the Eagles, would you consider a move?
Yeah, I would say no for.
Yeah, I would say no too. Christian Fulton.
If he's your 3rd or 4th, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I mean, I'd replace Jonathan Jones with him.
True. Oh, yeah, why do I keep forgetting Jonathan Jones? Because he hasn't played.
I don't know if he makes it, dude. He hasn't played a single down.
Yeah.
What about? I'm gonna get killed for this, but what about JJ McCarthy?
How about this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll get killed for this. Let me just look. Just wanted to look at. Let me see the depth chart here. How about Carson Wentz?
No.
It would be funny though. You got to admit, it would be kind of.
It would be hilarious, but I'd be furious. If you're gonna go for a big bust swing, I'd go for like Anthony Richards.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think he'd be fun as shit in this offense.
But the only problem is you're not keeping 4 quarterbacks. So
I guarantee you can get Cole Payton on the practice squad.
Yeah, if
you have Anthony Richardson, you don't care if you have Cole Payton.
Yeah, Cole Payton. Yeah, it should be.
So here's some other ones. Josh Sweat.
Well, we know we would do that.
Cedric Tillman.
Is he on the Browns?
He is.
Just think, the Browns probably wish they would have had AJ Epinesa.
I bet. Yeah.
But
now they have it's always
Derek
him.
Barnett. Yeah, it's always him.
It's always him.
He's been in the league 10 years, by the way.
He's had an incredible career considering where we last saw him.
True. Very true. Kind of got a little revitalized in Houston.
Yeah. But I listen, this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I would assume. So we play next Friday.
Yes.
We do any teams play on Saturday, or is everybody done by Friday? You know,
I think everyone's done. Isn't everyone done?
I feel like we usually request Friday of the last week so that we can cut on Saturday when other teams are playing.
Let's see, NFL preseason. We'll look at everything. Well, when's the cut down date? Is it Saturday or is it Sunday?
I think it's Sunday.
The only Saturday games, there are Saturday games. Lions and the Colts play at 1:00, and then at 6:00 it's the Bears Titans. Otherwise, everything is Friday.
Okay. So we play Friday. Cut downs will start on Saturday. We should have a full look at that roster on Monday.
Yeah, August 30th is the 53-man cut down. So that's Sunday.
Okay.
And then the practice squad you can have, I guess the practice squad is you fill it, I think on Monday usually. Yeah. Yeah, August 31st, claiming period for players placed on waivers at the final roster reduction will expire at 1 p.m. on Monday.
Okay.
Upon receipt, no comes practice squad. So yeah, usually Monday in the afternoon is when the practice squad starts to get filled.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. So Wednesday we'll be doing our 53-man roster predictions, and we'll go from there, and then we will recap the game on the weekend. Trying to think what we should do with that. If we should just, because if the cut down day is Sunday, maybe we do a show. We'll do a show next Sunday. Maybe just do a quick recap of it, and then next Sunday we'll do a quick recap and then the cut down recap.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So Wednesday, Sunday next week. Okay, that works for me. Like I said, I want to appreciate everyone who joins us, who make sure they subscribe in, make sure they're doing whatever they got to do to follow the channel. We appreciate it. Make sure that if you have any suggestion or anything, make sure you always just reach out. Everything's at the bottom of the screen. But again, the way we always end it, with a very happy and joyful Go Birds.
Hey guys, it's Davo. Some people call me Davo Philly. I'm here with Big Dom. And check out All About the Birds. Go Birds.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Ian. Make sure you're following All About the Birds. I absolutely love their content.
Just wanted to give the guys over at All About the Birds a huge shout out.
Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the birds.
All birds all the time.
All birds all the